Wheel of Games! Line.
Hi, I'm bigcal.
Hi, I'm bigcal, and welcome to my world. So, Dragon Questober wrapped up yesterday with my big review of Dragon Quest V, but now it is the end of the month, and that only means one thing: Wheel of Games. Where I spin this wheel, it lands on a category, and I have to buy a game based on that category for the next month, and then play through some of it as much as I can, really, and do a more in-depth video on the game than I would in my old DIY gaming box videos. So, last month, it landed on Nintendo games, which meant I could buy any game for any Nintendo system and play that. Perfect. So, I picked up the final game on my Wii U want list: Paper Mario Color Splash. Paper Mario Color Splash, the 6th game in the long-running series that released on Wii U in 2016, featuring the unique video game mechanic of paint. Or the lack of paint. Or both? Okay, so the game is based around paint being stolen from the land and quite literally sucked out of things, be it flowers, the ocean, and even toads. Honestly, it's kind of terrifying seeing Shy Guys sneaking up on poor innocent toads and sucking their colour out with a straw. The actual story, well, it begins with Princess Peach being sent a colourless toad in the post, and so she and Mario travel to Port Prisma, where the toad was sent from. There you meet a paint can named Huey, and discover the 6 big paint stars have disappeared. To the surprise of nobody, Bowser has kidnapped the princess and is after the big paint stars, so you have to travel the lands collecting regular-sized paint stars to open up new areas and eventually find the big paint stars, which are usually guarded by the Koopalings. Why does Bowser want these stars? Well, I'm not entirely sure, but somehow Bowser absorbed a bunch of black paint, which seems to have made him more evil than usual. That's all I know from playing it so far, which was, how long? Just hold on, check my notes. 20 hours? Yep, I have played the game so far for 20 hours, collecting 5 of the 6 big paint stars, and that is the entire story so far. Paper Mario started out as an RPG series, but it seems to be lacking severely in the story aspect here, which is one of the most important aspects of an RPG. So, okay, the story is essentially non-existent, but I've still played for 20 hours, and I do plan to finish the game off as well, which means something must have kept me going, right? Well, yeah, the basic gameplay loop. It's split into 2 parts, in battle and out of battle. I'll start with out of battle. As Mario, you move around, jump, and use a hammer, as is tradition in Paper Mario games. Use the hammer to break certain objects and even defeat weaker enemies without having to go into battle with them. This time around, though, your hammer has an extra function: painting. As mentioned before, the colour is being sucked out of things, leaving blank white spots all over the world. These could be toads, of course, but also just part of the floor and walls, objects such as plants and benches, and even item blocks. Hitting them with the colour hammer, which uses a different button to the regular hammer, fills them in, but also uses up paint. You can recover this by defeating enemies in battle, or hitting certain objects with the hammer, causing blobs of paint to randomly fly out for you to pick up. Defeating enemies in battle will also give you coins, and a mini hammer pickup which fills up the handle of your hammer. Once full, it will extend the amount of paint your hammer can hold. This is pretty much the only real reason to go into battles, as once again, more RPG aspects are missing. No experience gained, and no levelling up at all. You can just increase the amount of paint your hammer holds, and your HP every time you collect a big paint star. Colouring parts of the level back in can serve 2 purposes: 100% completion, and opening up paths to continue levels. A pipe, for instance, might need painting for you to be able to go down it and reach further into a level. It's nothing special, but it can get sort of addicting smashing the paint hammer everywhere to colour everything in. At least, it was. until I found out about some random event where every so often on the world map, a shy guy will target a level that you've already been in, and then it's a race between him and you to get there first. Make it before him and he disappears. Get there a little bit too late and he'll begin sucking paint back out. Battle him and get rid of him. However, if you happen to be on the other side of the map and he's nearer the level he plans to suck up, no matter the progress you've made, he'll suck all the paint back out. It's random and unfair and just stopped me actively wanting to paint everything in. What was the point if it was just going to get undone on a whim that the game decides? Plus, I don't even know if there is a reward for 100% completion or anything. Being a Mario game, I imagine it's probably something lame like a different title screen or a letter from the princess thanking you. Right then, let's move on to battles. Unlike the game that will succeed Colour Splash, we still have good old-fashioned turn-based battles with the time button presses to increase damage or block attacks. However, the battle system is basically a slightly more refined version of Sticker Star. Instead of having individual stickers that have one-time uses in battle, you now have cards. Collect these from around the levels, item boxes, enemies, and sometimes filling in paint. They range from a boot, which is a stomp attack, and there are different variations of this of course, a hammer, for hammering things, and again different variations, fire and ice flowers, various enemies you encounter. Yes, you can send out the likes of Goomba to battle for you. Mushrooms to recover health or paint, and something called things, which are real-world objects. These can sometimes be used to inflict high damage on multiple opponents, or have extremely specific use cases against bosses or puzzles in levels. I'll circle back to that soon enough. It's weird, I always hear that Sticker Star is absolutely terrible, with the combat system being one of the things people hate. Meanwhile, Colour Splash is considered to be a massive improvement overall as a game, and one that people often cite as underrated. So I loaded up Sticker Star for the first time ever, despite owning it for years, and it seems to me that there just isn't much of a difference, at least in terms of battles, which is what I wanted to compare. Both stickers and cards are found around levels, and have a one-time use during battle, and they mostly seem to be the same type of attacks too. The only difference I found in my short time with Sticker Star was that Colour Splash makes it a little easier to gauge when a perfect hit can be done with a hammer. If someone has played through Sticker Star and Colour Splash, please tell me if there are any major differences as the game goes on, so please comment below and let me know. So yeah, during a battle, you have to select a card that you can use as an attack. You start out only being able to use one card, and right now, 20 hours into the game, I'm able to use 3 per turn if I wish. Honestly, I like how this system works. Unlike normal turn-based combat where you have a set list of attacks to use, here your attacks are determined by the cards you currently have. You might be facing enemies that are best dealt with using the boot card, but if you run out of that card, you have to switch up strategies and start messing around with different cards. It can be really fun and helps prevent combat from becoming one-dimensional. Of course, it can also work against you. For example, there are enemies that have spikes on their heads, meaning jumping on them is only going to hurt you. If you don't have the right cards to attack them, well, you're screwed. Even worse with boss fights if you don't have the correct thing card. Luckily, you can spend gold coins once per turn to pick a card at random, which can be a lifesaver on occasion. One thing that I don't care for is that if you choose more than one card in a turn, but end up defeating all the enemies with a single card, the cards that you didn't use don't go back in your deck. You lose them. Seems pretty unfair to me. So while the one-time card-based system can have some flaws, overall I really like it, unlike the awful combat system used in Origami King. Oh, there is still more. See, some cards will already be painted, while some won't. The unpainted ones can be used as normal, but they will be incredibly weak. However, you have the option to paint them. This uses up your paint resource though, with some cards taking up a lot of paint. You can paint them part way, which will increase the damage, but not as much as a fully painted card. One thing I love about this whole thing is that the damage isn't shown with numbers either. The more damage inflicted, the more paint they lose. It's kind of cool to see a large enemy slowly losing paint, causing them to flop over a little as well. It's a cool detail that you would expect from a Mario game. Ah, yes, I said I was going to circle back to thing cards and how they are sometimes used outside of battle. Every so often you might just get stuck. Seemingly no path opened up for you to continue. This is where cutout mode comes into play. By pressing the Y button, I think it's either X or Y, outside of battle, if you are in the right area, you will enter cutout mode, which lets you cut out a small part of the level using the touchscreen. This can either allow you to simply platform an area you previously couldn't, or will open up a spot for you to insert a thing card. For example, at one point of the game you board a ship, but there is no wind to get you moving. Enter cutout mode and you will be able to cut out a rectangle and insert a fan card, which will turn on and give you some wind for you to finally start moving. Use the wrong card and you will lose that card, but honestly, you'd have to not be paying attention to select the wrong card, as it's always pretty obvious. If you do accidentally lose a thing card, which will be important later, you can buy one again in Port Prisma. You can also go to a shop there and buy regular cards to top up your battle deck. Presentation-wise, the game looks fantastic on Wii U. The papercraft aesthetic is one I always loved in games, and Nintendo games in particular always do it really well. Plenty of colour too, of course, except for the parts of the level you haven't painted yet. Music is classic Mario-style music, nothing to say there. Levels are nice and varied, as the Paper Mario series takes place outside of the Mushroom Kingdom, allowing for more unique locales and set designs, while still using a lot of the basic Forest World, Fire World, Sand World cliches that the 2D games are best known for. The writing is top-notch too, getting a good laugh out of me on more than one occasion. I love the addition of Huey, and a bunch of the side characters are great too. The main complaint is that outside of enemies, well, everyone is a Toad, meaning that even the ones with fun personalities tend to blend into the rest, as you can rarely tell the difference between them all. Wait, am I being racist against Toads? Anywho, as far as I can tell, Huey is the only unique character, with everyone else being typical Mario characters, be they Toads, Goombas, Koopas, etc. Yeah, having different characters would have been nice for variety, most certainly on the good side, and having party members again would have been nice too, but I do think this was a good step away from what people apparently hated about Sticker Star. From what I understand, the writing is terrible and the characters are even less memorable. Well, I've talked about this game for far too long, more than any game yet in my Wheel of Games series, but I am 20 hours into it and almost at the end, so I had way more time with the game than probably every other Wheel of Games video combined. I will definitely be finishing it up. Overall, it's a very fun Paper Mario game. It has its flaws, there's no real story, and the lack of unique characters outside of Huey kind of sucks, and there is no levelling up, but I do genuinely enjoy the battle system, the visuals, the different locations, and the writing. Well worth checking this one out while it's still somewhat cheap. I got it for around £16 and it tends to hover around the £20 mark mostly. It's one of the few Wii U exclusives that hasn't been ported elsewhere, so it's bound to go up in price in a few years' time. Also, fuck Rochambeau temples. And so there we have it, Paper Mario Colour Splash for the Wii U. Yeah, it has some flaws, undoubtedly, but I very much enjoyed my time with it. 20 hours in so far, I've only one big paint star to collect and then go on and defeat Bowser, so probably only maybe 3, maybe 4 hours at most left of it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to play through it again. Play through it more and finish it off. And it's always just nice to get the Wii U out and play it again, because there isn't much of a reason to play the Wii U these days, unfortunately. Right then, it is now time to... Okay, let's try this again without me banging into the back of my shelving unit. Last month it landed on a Nintendo game that has been removed and replaced with an older category, digital game. So let's give it a spin and see what we get. Ooh, it has landed on Sex Voucher, or CEX, a second-hand exchange shop here in the UK, very good for getting very cheap Blu-rays and DVDs and older games. So I have a Sex Voucher for £51 that I got when I traded in my old mobile phone, which was actually higher than what I paid for it when I bought it on eBay. So I actually came out on top there for a change. That was nice. So yeah, I can use that £51 voucher to buy something online or go to the store. I have something in mind already. I've been wanting this particular category to come up for some time. It's like, okay, when it does, that's what I'm buying. So I know what I'm going to get already. So yeah, should be a very interesting video. It's going to be slightly different next month than just me showing off a game and talking about it. You'll find out next time, of course. So yeah, sex voucher, I'll have to buy something and record footage of it and everything for next month, which is, Christ, November. We're already going to be in November. Well, I'm Big Cal. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out Dragon Quest Tober that's already been and gone earlier this month. Some big review videos and, of course, a pickups themed, Dragon Quest themed pickups video there. And, of course, don't forget to check out my previous Wheel of Games videos. And I'll see you again next time.